Completely different. Things are not like each other in one or more way. The outcome of the experiment was completely different from our initial hypothesis. The new model is completely different from the previous version in terms of features. Their approaches to solving the problem were completely different but equally effective. Well planned. Carefully arranged with attention to detail. His presentation was well planned, showcasing a clear structure and engaging content. The city's emergency response was well planned, minimizing the impact of the disaster. Their vacation itinerary was well planned to ensure they visited all the major attractions. Absolutely necessary. Completely essential or required. If you want to succeed in this course, attending every lecture is absolutely necessary. It is absolutely necessary to follow safety protocols when operating heavy machinery. In order to start the experiment, it is absolutely necessary to follow the safety protocols. Deliberately avoided. Intentionally stayed away from or evaded. They deliberately avoided crowded areas to ensure a more relaxed experience. The team deliberately avoided making any key decisions until the new manager arrived. She deliberately avoided the topic of politics in her conversations to prevent arguments. Heavily influenced. Greatly affected by external factors or opinions. His writing style is heavily influenced by classic literature from the 19th century. She was heavily influenced by her mentor's advice when making her career decisions. The design of the new building was heavily influenced by modern architectural trends. Long anticipated. Expected or awaited for a long time. The long-anticipated sequel to the popular book finally hit the shelves last week. After years of planning, the long-anticipated vacation to Europe was finally underway. The long-anticipated merger between the two tech giants was completed successfully. Nearly impossible. Extremely difficult to achieve, almost unachievable. Climbing the steep mountain trail was nearly impossible due to the heavy snowfall. The task of solving the complex puzzle was nearly impossible without the right tools. It was nearly impossible to find a parking spot in the crowded town area during the festival. Emotionally involved. Affected by emotions in a situation. He tried not to get emotionally involved with the characters while writing his novel. It's hard not to become emotionally involved when volunteering with rescue animals. The actors became deeply emotionally involved in their roles during the intense drama. Full scale. Complete, not reduced in size or scope. A full-scale investigation was conducted to uncover the root cause of the incident. They planned a full-scale renovation of their home, including new fixtures and decor. The company launched a full-scale marketing campaign to promote its new product line. Severely damaged. Causing very great pain, difficulty, and worry. The bridge was severely damaged during the earthquake and closed for repairs. The reputation of the company was severely damaged after the scandal went public. The storm severely damaged many homes along the coastline, leaving residents in shock. Interest-free. Not requiring the borrower to pay any interest. The store provides interest-free financing for 6 months on all major appliances. They offer an interest-free loan to employees for purchasing eco-friendly vehicles. The government announced an interest-free loan program for small business owners. Enthusiastically received. Welcomed with great excitement or approval. His innovative proposal was enthusiastically received by the board of directors. The restaurant's grand opening was enthusiastically received by the local community. Her speech was enthusiastically received, drawing applause and praise from everyone. Broken-hearted. Deeply sad, due to the end of a relationship. The parents were broken-hearted when they learned their child had gone missing. The broken-hearted letters she received from her old friend were filled with nostalgia. After the breakup, she felt completely broken-hearted and couldn't focus on anything else. Absent-minded. Forgetful or inattentive, often lost in thought. Despite being highly intelligent, he could be quite absent-minded in everyday situations. The absent-minded professor forgot where he parked his car for the 3rd time this week. She left her phone in the cafe because she was feeling particularly absent-minded that day. Deeply embedded. Firmly fixed or established within something. The company's values are deeply embedded in its corporate culture and practices. Her habits are deeply embedded in her daily routine, making them hard to change. The historical significance of the monument is deeply embedded in the nation's heritage. Comparatively limited. Restricted or small in comparison to something else. The options available to us are comparatively limited given the short time frame. The budget for this development is comparatively limited compared to last year's funding. Her knowledge of the subject is comparatively limited due to her recent entry into the field. Absolutely amazed. Completely surprised or astonished. The audience was absolutely amazed by the magician's stunning performance. The scientist was absolutely amazed by the unexpected results of the experiment. They were absolutely amazed when they saw the elaborate decorations at the wedding. Bitterly resentful. Feeling deep anger or bitterness. She felt bitterly resentful of the way her colleagues treated her during the project. He became bitterly resentful when his ideas were consistently ignored by the team. The former employees were bitterly resentful of the company's decision to cut benefits. Old-fashioned. Outdated or not in line with modern trends. His wardrobe was quite old-fashioned, consisting of tweed jackets and bow ties. She wore an old-fashioned dress to the themed party, with a vintage hat and gloves. The movie was set in the 1950s and featured old-fashioned costumes and classic cars. Freely available. Accessible without restrictions or cost. The online course materials were freely available for anyone interested in learning. Information about the local events was freely available on the community website. The library offers a range of educational resources that are freely available to all members. Vaguely familiar. To some degree, but not to a very large degree. The concept discussed in the lecture was vaguely familiar from his previous studies. Her face was vaguely familiar, but he couldn't remember where he had seen her before. The style of the painting was vaguely familiar, reminiscent of an artist I studied in art class. Hardly noticeable. Almost imperceptible or difficult to see. The difference in price was hardly noticeable given the high quality of the product. The error in the report was hardly noticeable, but I still corrected it to be thorough. Despite the changes to the design, the alterations were hardly noticeable to most users. Slightly different. a small or minor variation. The two models are slightly different in design but share the same core features. The book's second edition is slightly different from the first, with additional chapters. The dress she bought was slightly different from the one she had tried on in the store. Remarkably different. Significantly distinct or unlike something else. The landscape here is remarkably different from what we saw earlier in the trip. The two cities were remarkably different in their cultural and architectural styles. His new approach to the problem was remarkably different from his previous attempts. Readily available. Easily available to just about everyone. Educational resources are readily available for those interested in learning more. The information you need to know is readily available on the company's website. Support services are readily available to assist with any issues you might encounter. Bad-tempered. Prone to becoming angry easily, irritable. The bad-tempered dog barked aggressively at anyone who approached the yard. Her bad-tempered comments during the meeting created tension among the team. The manager's bad-tempered reaction to the complaint surprised everyone in the office. Desperately eager. Extremely enthusiastic to do something. The team was desperately eager to win the championship after a long season. She was desperately eager to start her new business after months of searching. He was desperately eager to make a good impression on his first day at the company. Eternally grateful. Forever thankful or appreciative. She felt eternally grateful for the chance to work with such talented colleagues. The community was eternally grateful for the volunteers' hard work during the crisis. She was eternally grateful for the support her friends provided during her difficult times. Quite furious. Marked by great and stressful excitement or activity. She felt quite furious after realizing that her coworker had taken credit for her idea. She was quite furious when she found out that her favorite book had been damaged. The parents were quite furious when the school failed to notify them about the incident. Quite impossible. Extremely unlikely or difficult to achieve. For the team, it was quite impossible to recover from the loss of their key player. She found it quite impossible to concentrate with all the noise in the background. It was quite impossible to believe that he had accomplished such a feat in so little time. Bulletproof. Resistant to bullets, invulnerable to attack. The new car model features bulletproof windows for enhanced safety measures. The building was designed with bulletproof glass to protect against potential threats. The security team insisted on bulletproof shields for the protection of the VIP guests. Utterly miserable. Completely unhappy or uncomfortable. The long hours and stressful conditions left him feeling utterly miserable at work. The rainy weather made the outdoor event utterly miserable for everyone involved. The constant noise from the assembly site made living in the apartment utterly miserable. Tentatively agreed. Agreed upon with hesitation or uncertainty. After some discussion, they tentatively agreed on the date for the upcoming event. He tentatively agreed to the partnership, provided that all the conditions were met. The committee tentatively agreed to the proposed changes, pending final approval. Ill-bred. Rude or having bad manners, poorly raised. The ill-bred children were constantly interrupting the adults during the dinner party. Despite his wealth, his ill-bred manners made it difficult for him to fit in with the high society. His ill-bred remarks about the guest's appearance caused a lot of worry among the attendees. Deeply moved. Having strong feelings of sadness or sympathy. The film's portrayal of loss and resilience left the entire audience deeply moved. The letter from her grandmother, filled with love and wisdom, left her deeply moved. He was deeply moved by the charity of the stranger who helped him in his time of need. Short-lived. Lasting for a brief period of time. The joy of winning the lottery was short-lived once the financial realities set in. Their vacation was short-lived, but they made the most of every moment they had. The thrill of the new project was short-lived as unexpected challenges quickly arose. Bitterly disappointed. Extremely unhappy or let down by something. After the team lost the championship game, the fans were bitterly disappointed. She was bitterly disappointed when she found out her vacation plans had to be cancelled. Despite his efforts, he was bitterly disappointed by the lack of support from his colleagues. Legitimately elected. Chosen through legal or accepted means. She was proud to serve as a legitimately elected representative of her constituency. The board of directors was legitimately elected through a transparent and fair process. The mayor, legitimately elected, promised to address the issues raised during his campaign. Deeply shocked. To make someone feel upset or surprised. The community was deeply shocked by the unexpected news of the factory closure. The audience was deeply shocked by the powerful performance that left many in tears. They were deeply shocked by the revelation of the scandal involving a trusted public figure. Painfully aware. Very conscious, often to an uncomfortable degree. She was painfully aware of how her words had hurt her friend, despite her intentions. The manager was painfully aware of the team's low morale following the recent layoffs. The firm was painfully aware of the negative impact its decision had on the employees. Fully aware. Completely informed or knowledgeable. He was fully aware of the consequences before making his decision to move abroad. They were fully aware of the new regulations and ensured compliance from the start. The team was fully aware of the project's tight deadline and worked extra hours to meet it. Thick-skinned. Not affected by criticism or negative comments. Despite the criticism, his thick-skinned nature allowed him to stay focused on his goals. To succeed in the public eye, you need to be thick-skinned and not let criticism affect you. Being thick-skinned is essential in the entertainment industry where feedback can be harsh. Fiercely competitive. Extremely determined to win or be the best. The athletes were fiercely competitive, each one determined to win the gold medal. Their fiercely competitive spirit drove them to push their limits and excel in every match. In the world of startups, being fiercely competitive is often crucial to stay ahead of the curve. Highly unusual. Different from what is usual or normal. His highly unusual approach to problem-solving often led to innovative solutions. The discovery of the new species in such an unexpected location was highly unusual. The artist's use of alternative materials in the sculpture was highly unusual but intriguing. Last minute. Done or happening at the latest possible time. We had to make a last-minute reservation at the hotel when our original plans fell through. She made a last-minute decision to attend the conference, which turned out to be beneficial. He always seems to handle everything at the last minute, which can be quite nerve-wracking. Heavily armed. Equipped with many powerful weapons. The police arrived with heavily armed units to deal with the dangerous situation. The heavily armed soldiers patrolled the perimeter to ensure the security of the base. The film depicted a dramatic scene with heavily armed mercenaries taking over the building. Well-dressed. Wearing attractive or appropriate clothing. The well-dressed attendees of the charity event contributed significantly to its success. The well-dressed guests at the wedding added to the elegant atmosphere of the event. His well-dressed appearance made a great impression during the important business meeting. Duty-free. Exempt from taxes or customs duties. Many tourists take advantage of duty-free shopping to purchase gifts and souvenirs. She bought a bottle of perfume from the duty-free shop at the airport to save on taxes. Duty-free purchases are exempt from local taxes, making them a popular choice for traveler. Blissfully ignorant. Happily unaware of something unpleasant. She remained blissfully ignorant of the chaos unfolding outside her quiet home. They were blissfully ignorant of the looming storm, enjoying their sunny picnic. She was blissfully ignorant of the fact that her friends were planning a surprise for her. Quickly adapted. Adjusted or changed swiftly to fit new conditions. She quickly adapted her teaching methods to suit the online learning environment. She quickly adapted to her new role as manager, handling challenges with confidence. The group quickly adapted to the new software and continued working without delays. Clearly defined. In a clear manner, speaking clearly. The project has clearly defined goals and deadlines to ensure timely completion. His role in the organization is clearly defined, with specific responsibilities and tasks. The expectations for the performance review were clearly defined and communicated. Eagerly awaiting. Waiting with excitement or anticipation. Fans are eagerly awaiting the release of the new album from their favorite artist. She is eagerly awaiting her first day at the new job and the challenges it will bring. The children are eagerly awaiting their summer vacation and all the fun it promises. Perfectly clear. Fully understandable and without any confusion. The instructions were perfectly clear, making the assembly of the furniture easy. The water in the lake was perfectly clear, allowing us to see the fish swimming below. Her message was perfectly clear: she wanted everyone to work together harmoniously. Blissfully ignorant. Happily unaware of something unpleasant. Despite the mounting evidence, he was blissfully ignorant of the risks involved. She felt blissfully ignorant as she enjoyed her vacation without checking the news. The children were blissfully ignorant of the serious talk happening among the adults. Highly recommended. To strongly suggest someone or something. This course is highly recommended for anyone looking to improve their skills. The software update is highly recommended to enhance security and performance. The doctor highly recommended a thorough checkup after noticing some symptoms. Highly anticipated. Greatly expected or looked forward to. The release of the new video game was highly anticipated by fans worldwide. The concert was highly anticipated, drawing a large crowd of enthusiastic followers. The announcement of the new policy changes was highly anticipated by the community. Constantly evolving. Continuously changing or developing. The technology sector is constantly evolving with new innovations and updates. Our understanding of the universe is constantly evolving as new discoveries are made. Fashion trends are constantly evolving, making it hard to keep up with the latest styles. Greatly appreciated. Highly valued or acknowledged with gratitude. The support from the community during the fundraiser was greatly appreciated. His understanding and patience during the difficult time were greatly appreciated. The feedback you provided was greatly appreciated and will help improve the project. Incredibly grateful. Showing or expressing thanks to someone. She felt incredibly grateful for the opportunity to work with such a talented team. I am incredibly grateful for all the support you've given me throughout this process. He was incredibly grateful for the chance to study abroad and gain new experiences. Barely noticeable. Almost imperceptible or difficult to detect. The error in the document was so small it was barely noticeable to most readers. The change in the design was barely noticeable, but it improved the functionality. Her accent was barely noticeable after she had lived in the country for several years. Self-centered. Only interested in yourself and your own activities. The manager's self-centered decisions often ignored the team's input and needs. His self-centered behavior made it difficult for him to maintain close relationships. The self-centered remarks during the meeting showed a lack of consideration for others. Deeply offended. To cause hurt feelings or deep resentment. She was deeply offended by the insensitive remarks made during the discussion. The community was deeply offended by the portrayal of their culture in the film. He felt deeply offended when his donations were dismissed without acknowledgement. Hotly debated. Strongly argued, often with passion or intensity. The candidates' qualifications were hotly debated during the election campaign. The issue of climate change is hotly debated among scientists and policymakers. The effectiveness of the new educational methods is hotly debated among educators. User-friendly. Easy to use or understand without any technical skills. The website's user-friendly interface makes navigation simple for all age groups. Our goal is to develop a user-friendly app for scheduling appointments effortlessly. The manual is quite user-friendly, with step-by-step instructions and clear diagrams. Hands-on. Work involves actually doing a particular thing. Hands-on learning methods help students retain information more effectively. The workshop offered a hands-on experience with the latest scientific equipment. She gained hands-on experience in marketing while working for a startup company. Service-oriented. Focused on providing service, particularly to customers. He has always been service-oriented and willing to help others whenever possible. A service-oriented business always prioritizes customer satisfaction above all else. The hotel staff was extremely service-oriented, ensuring all guests were comfortable. Perfectly understandable. Completely clear or easy to comprehend. His frustration was perfectly understandable, considering the circumstances he faced. The confusion was perfectly understandable due to the unclear instructions provided. Your hesitation is perfectly understandable given the situation's uncertainty and complexity. Severely limited. Not very great in amount, range, or degree. Due to the pandemic, travel options were severely limited for many months. His mobility was severely limited after the accident, requiring months of therapy. Resources were severely limited, forcing the team to be creative with their solutions. Swiftly responded. Happens very quickly or without delay. The manager swiftly responded to the customer's complaints to resolve the issue. The emergency team swiftly responded to the call and arrived within a short time. He swiftly responded to the unexpected question with a confident and accurate answer. Temporarily unavailable. Not accessible for a short period. This feature will be temporarily unavailable while we improve its functionality. The service is temporarily unavailable due to routine maintenance and upgrades. The website was temporarily unavailable, causing frustration among frequent users. Quickly deteriorated. Rapidly worsened in condition or quality. The situation in the country quickly deteriorated, leading to mass protests and unrest. Relations between the two companies quickly deteriorated over the contract dispute. The abandoned building quickly deteriorated due to years of neglect and weather damage. Strongly opposed. To go against it or fight hard to stop it. Many residents are strongly opposed to the construction of a new highway nearby. She was strongly opposed to the idea of extending the deadline without a valid reason. The community strongly opposed the closure of their local library and organized protests. Graciously accepted. Received something with kindness and politeness. She graciously accepted the award on behalf of her team with a humble speech. Despite his initial hesitation, he graciously accepted the proposition to join the panel. He graciously accepted their apology, understanding the circumstances behind their mistake. Narrowly avoided. Just barely escaped or evaded something. She narrowly avoided an accident by swerving at the last moment to avoid the car. The company narrowly avoided bankruptcy by securing a last-minute investment deal. The city narrowly avoided severe flooding after the storm unexpectedly changed course. Completely forgotten. Totally erased from memory or consideration. The story of their bravery has been completely forgotten by the new generation. I had completely forgotten about our meeting until I saw your message this morning. The once famous artist has been completely forgotten, his works gathering dust in a museum. Strictly forbidden. Absolutely prohibited or not allowed. Smoking is strictly forbidden inside the building to comply with health regulations. Entering the restricted area without permission is strictly forbidden by the authorities. It is strictly forbidden to share this private information with anyone outside the company. Deeply troubled. A state of distress, affliction, difficulty, or need. The counselor spoke to the deeply troubled teenager to offer support and guidance. She felt deeply troubled by the news of the natural disaster affecting her hometown. They were deeply troubled by the lack of transparency in the decision-making process. Utterly confused. Thoroughly puzzled or unable to understand. He was utterly confused about the changes in the schedule announced last minute. The audience seemed utterly confused by the film's non-linear plot and abrupt ending. She looked utterly confused when asked a question in a language she didn't understand. Actively seeking. Pursuing something with energy and willpower. They are actively seeking partnerships with local businesses to grow their network. She is actively seeking new job opportunities in the field of environmental science. The company is actively seeking talented professionals to join its expanding team. Thoroughly enjoyed. Fully and completely enjoyed something. She thoroughly enjoyed the book, reading it from cover to cover in one night. We thoroughly enjoyed our trip to the mountains, especially the breathtaking views. He thoroughly enjoyed the concert, especially the band's surprise encore performance. Particularly interested. Especially or specifically intrigued by something. She is now particularly interested in studying marine biology and ocean conservation. The group was particularly interested in the speaker's thoughts on artificial intelligence. They are particularly interested in investing in sustainable and renewable energy sources. Genuinely concerned. Truly worried or caring about something. The teacher was genuinely concerned for her students' safety during the field trip. He was genuinely concerned about the impact of climate change on the environment. She seemed genuinely concerned about his well-being after hearing about the accident. Loosely based. Not strictly or exactly based on something. The movie is loosely based on a true story but includes many fictional elements. Her recent novel is loosely based on her own experiences growing up in a small town. The painting is loosely based on an actual event but with added creative interpretations. Partially successful. Successful to some extent, but not fully. Their attempt to negotiate a deal was only partially successful, with key issues unresolved. The project was partially successful, achieving its primary goals but missing some deadlines. The therapy was partially successful in reducing symptoms but needed further adjustment. Remarkably efficient. Extremely effective and well organized. The car's new engine is remarkably efficient, providing better mileage with less fuel. The new software is remarkably efficient, reducing processing time by more than half. She has a remarkably efficient way of managing her time, balancing work and leisure easily. Rapidly expanded. Become larger in size or volume or quantity. The tech startup rapidly expanded, hiring new staff and opening multiple offices. The company rapidly expanded its operations to meet growing international demand. The virus rapidly expanded through the community, prompting immediate health measures. Unexpectedly discovered. Found out about something by surprise. He unexpectedly discovered an old diary while cleaning out his grandmother's attic. The scientist unexpectedly discovered a new chemical reaction during the experiment. I unexpectedly discovered a love for cooking when I started experimenting in the kitchen. Regularly maintained. Kept in good condition through consistent care. Our cars are regularly maintained to avoid any unexpected breakdowns or problems. The database is regularly maintained to keep the information accurate and up to date. The equipment must be regularly maintained to ensure it remains in good working condition. Seldom mentioned. Rarely talked about or brought up. His contributions to the project are seldom mentioned but were crucial to its success. This fact is seldom mentioned in history books, though it changed the course of events. The issue is seldom mentioned in public, despite its significant impact on the community. Completely satisfied. Totally content or happy with something. The customer was completely satisfied with the service and left a positive review. She felt completely satisfied after finishing the challenging but rewarding project. The coach was completely satisfied with the team's performance in the final game. Deeply rooted. Very fixed and strong, difficult to destroy. The company's values are deeply rooted in integrity and customer satisfaction. These beliefs are deeply rooted in the family's religious and cultural background. The traditions of the community are deeply rooted in centuries of cultural history. Unusually quiet. Marked by little or no motion, activity, or noise. The streets were unusually quiet, with hardly any traffic or pedestrians around. The classroom was unusually quiet today, which made the teacher slightly suspicious. She was unusually quiet during the seminar, which made everyone wonder what was wrong. Poorly executed. Done in a way that lacks skill or quality. The presentation was poorly executed, lacking clear visuals and a cohesive message. The event was poorly executed, with many guests leaving early due to disorganization. The plan was poorly executed, resulting in confusion and delays throughout the team. Carefully planned. Thought out with great attention to detail. The trip was carefully planned to maximize sightseeing and minimize travel time. The evacuation was carefully planned to ensure everyone's safety during the emergency. The experiment was carefully planned to remove any variables that could affect the results. Strongly recommend. Suggested as being good or suitable for. I would strongly recommend this restaurant for its unique dishes and cozy atmosphere. The guidebook strongly recommends visiting the museum for a glimpse of local culture. Doctors strongly recommend regular exercise to maintain good physical and mental health. Particularly challenging. Requiring considerable physical or mental effort. The hike to the summit was particularly challenging, even for experienced climbers. Learning a new language can be particularly challenging without consistent practice. This scheme is particularly challenging due to the tight deadlines and limited resources. Deeply impressed. Profoundly affected or influenced by something. The interviewer was deeply impressed by her insightful answers and calm demeanor. The audience was deeply impressed by the singer's powerful voice and stage presence. He was deeply impressed with the company's commitment to sustainability and innovation. Vividly remember. Recall or remember something with great detail. She vividly remembers the day her daughter was born, down to the smallest detail. I vividly remember the sound of the waves crashing against the shore that evening. He vividly remembers his childhood home, with its sprawling garden and tall oak trees. Completely unaware. Totally ignorant of or oblivious to something. He seemed completely unaware of the changes happening in the organization. They were completely unaware of the new regulations until they received the notice. The public was completely unaware of the hidden risks associated with the product. Cautiously optimistic. Hopeful but with a degree of caution. The doctors are cautiously optimistic about the patient's chances of a full recovery. She remains cautiously optimistic that her proposal will be approved by the committee. Investors are cautiously optimistic about the market's recovery in the coming months. Slightly concerned. Hopeful but with a degree of caution. He was slightly concerned about his dog's health after noticing unusual behavior. They were slightly concerned that the weather might affect their outdoor wedding. She seemed slightly concerned about the changes in the company's running structure. Exceptionally talented. Having special aptitude or natural ability. He is an exceptionally talented writer whose novels have won multiple awards. The team consists of exceptionally talented professionals who excel in their fields. She is an exceptionally talented musician, mastering several instruments at a young age. Very appealing. Highly attractive or desirable. The post offer was very appealing, with many benefits and a competitive salary. The idea of a weekend getaway sounded very appealing after a long week of work. The job opportunity seemed very appealing due to its growth prospects and location. Time-consuming. Taking a lot of time to do. Finding the perfect venue for the wedding proved to be a time-consuming challenge. Organizing the files manually was a time-consuming activity that took hours to complete. Studying for the bar exam is a time-consuming process that requires dedication and focus. Thoroughly spoiled. Allowed to do or have anything that they want. The child was thoroughly spoilt by his grandparents, receiving gifts every other day. The child's thoroughly spoilt behavior was evident when he threw a tantrum over a toy. The princess was thoroughly spoilt, surrounded by luxury and never having to lift a finger. Ill-mannered. Lacking good manners, rude. She found his ill-mannered comments deeply offensive and chose to ignore him. Her ill-mannered comments about her colleagues' work left everyone uncomfortable. The ill-mannered child was an endless trouble in the classroom, testing the teacher's patience. Highly recommended. Strongly endorsed or suggested. The software upgrade is highly recommended to enhance the security of your device. This book is highly recommended for anyone interested in learning about ancient history. The spa treatments at that resort are highly recommended for relaxation and stress relief. Reasonably priced. Fairly or moderately priced, affordable. The lunch specials at this cafe are delicious and reasonably priced for every person. The hotel room was reasonably priced, considering its central location and amenities. The store offers reasonably priced clothing that appeals to budget-conscious shoppers. All-encompassing. Including or covering everything. The project required an all-encompassing plan that covered every possible contingency. The new policy is an all-encompassing approach to improve employee welfare and output. They created an all-encompassing syllabus that includes science, arts, and physical education. Delicately balanced. Carefully or finely balanced, often with precision. The political situation in the country was delicately balanced and could easily collapse. The flavor of the dish was delicately balanced, blending spices and sweetness perfectly. Their relationship was a delicately balanced mix of mutual respect and constant tension. Accident-prone. Likely to have accidents, clumsy. Despite being accident-prone, he refused to take extra precautions while hiking. The accident-prone nature of their cat means they're constantly replacing broken vases. The accident-prone employee was always breaking things or getting minor injuries at work. Categorically denied. Absolutely or firmly refused or rejected. The board of directors categorically denied the proposed changes to the firm policy. The syndicate categorically denied any involvement in the scandal reported by the media. When asked if the rumors were true, the spokesperson categorically denied any involvement. Densely populated. Having a high number of people living in an area. Public transport is essential in densely populated cities to reduce traffic and pollution. The city is densely populated, with skyscrapers and apartments filling every available space. The densely populated region faces challenges with waste management and public services. Mass-produced. Manufactured in large numbers or quantities. The factory's mass-produced toys flooded the market just in time for the holiday season. She preferred the mass-produced furniture for its practicality and consistency in quality. Mass-produced clothing is cheaper but may not be as durable as custom-made garments. Eye-opening. Surprising, and teaching you new facts about life. The workshop was an eye-opening introduction to the complexities of cybersecurity. Traveling to a different country was an eye-opening experience for the young student. The documentary provided an eye-opening look at the effects of pollution on marine life. Highly controversial. Causing a lot of disagreement or debate. The highly controversial film was banned in several countries due to its content. The new policy is highly controversial and has sparked protests across the nation. The artist's highly controversial work challenged traditional ideas of beauty and art. Brand new. Completely new, especially not yet used. They moved into a brand new apartment with modern amenities and a great view. He drove a brand new car straight from the dealership, feeling excited and delighted. The brand new smartphone offers several innovative features not seen in previous models. Utterly devastated. Completely destroyed emotionally or physically. The community was utterly devastated by the destruction caused by the hurricane. She looked utterly devastated after hearing about the massive layoffs at her company. The team was utterly devastated after losing the championship game by a single point. Long term. Extending over a long period of time. Investing in real estate can be a profitable long-term strategy for financial growth. The long-term effects of climate change are becoming more evident each passing year. Long-term planning is essential for sustainable development and resource management. Deeply rooted. Firmly ingrained or established. The political conflict is deeply rooted in the region's complex history and rivalries. The problems facing the country are deeply rooted in years of systemic inequality. Prejudices can be deeply rooted and require education and understanding to change. Completely exhausted. Totally worn out or drained of energy. She was completely exhausted after running a marathon in the scorching heat. The team felt completely exhausted following the intense week-long project deadline. The athlete was completely exhausted but proud of his record-breaking performance. Kind-hearted. Having a generous and compassionate nature. The kind-hearted teacher spent extra hours tutoring struggling students after class. The kind-hearted woman donated generously to the local animal shelter every month. The kind-hearted neighbors organized a fundraiser to help the family affected by the fire. Strong-willed. Determined and resolute, often stubbornly. He was a strong-willed child who always fought for what he believed was right. The strong-willed activist continued to campaign for justice despite constant threats. A strong-willed person can achieve great things with determination and perseverance. Ready-made. Something that is already prepared or made. She opted for a ready-made wedding dress instead of getting one custom-tailored. They bought a ready-made solution to their software problem from a reliable vendor. The clothing store offers a selection of ready-made dresses in various styles and colors. High-spirited. Full of energy, enthusiasm, and cheerfulness. Her high-spirited personality made her popular among her colleagues and friends. The high-spirited celebration lasted late into the night, filled with dancing and music. Despite the challenges, the team remained high-spirited throughout the competition. Heavily indebted. Owing a large amount of money. The nation is heavily indebted to foreign lenders and faces economic challenges. The company is heavily indebted and is considering restructuring to avoid bankruptcy. Heavily indebted countries often struggle to develop due to high repayment obligations. Mouth-watering. Appealing to the taste or making you want to eat. The mouth-watering display of desserts made it impossible to choose just one. The bakery's mouth-watering pastries are made fresh every morning by skilled chefs. She prepared a mouth-watering feast for her family using her grandmother's recipes. Deadly serious. Extremely serious and without any sense of humor. The captain's voice was deadly serious as he briefed the crew on the emergency. The instructor was deadly serious when he warned about the dangers of the sport. Despite his usual humor, he became deadly serious during the important discussion. Eye-catching. Very noticeable or attractive, drawing attention. The bright yellow sign was eye-catching and drew attention from all directions. His eye-catching performance at the audition impressed the judges immediately. The new marketing campaign featured eye-catching graphics to attract new customers. Big-headed. having an exaggerated sense of one's importance. The big-headed celebrity often ignored her fans and acted superior to everyone. A big-headed person rarely recognizes their flaws or accepts constructive criticism. Her friends found her big-headed attitude difficult to deal with after her promotion. Bloody-minded. Deliberately uncooperative or stubborn. The coach admired his bloody-minded approach to training, never backing down. Despite criticism, he remained bloody-minded in pursuing his unconventional ideas. His bloody-minded determination made him push through even the toughest challenges. Hot-tempered. Easily angered, prone to outbursts of anger. His hot-tempered reaction escalated a minor disagreement into a major argument. A hot-tempered individual needs to learn to control their anger in stressful situations. The hot-tempered player was frequently penalized for aggressive behavior on the field. Two-faced. Acting differently depending on who is present. He proved to be a two-faced friend who betrayed her conviction multiple times. The two-faced colleague often took credit for others' work while avoiding responsibility. The politician was criticized for being two-faced, saying different things to different groups. Absent-minded. Forgetful or inattentive, often lost in thought. I found my absent-minded friend's mobile phone in the grocery store's parking lot. Sarah's absent-mindedness was evident when she forgot her keys in the refrigerator. The absent-minded professor often lost track of time while engrossed in his research. Vaguely familiar. In a way that is unclear, imprecise, or uncertain. The name on the list looked vaguely familiar, but I wasn't sure if I knew the person. The style of the painting was vaguely familiar, reminding me of an artist I once admired. The location of the cafe was vaguely familiar, and I wondered if I had been there before. Perfectly balanced. Equally weighted or in an ideal state of equilibrium. The dish was perfectly balanced, with just the right amount of spice and sweetness. The flavors of the dessert were perfectly balanced, making it the favorite of many guests. The acrobat performed a perfectly balanced act on the tightrope, mesmerizing the audience. Remote-controlled. Controlling a machine or something from a distance. They used a remote-controlled submarine to explore the depths of the ocean. The drone was remote-controlled, allowing the operator to capture stunning aerial footage. The remote-controlled robot amazed everyone with its precise movements and functions.